Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 2nd to the 5th of September 2024. Oh, my goodness me, do we have a week to discuss? Hello, Ree, how are you this week? All right?
Good, Rob. How are you?
I'm all
You all
right.
good?
Yes,
Can't
went
believe
out
it's
last...
September.
I know. The year has flown by, and we've been here for the whole year. That's not happened before yet, has it?
Oh
This is our
yeah.
first full year, and what a year it's been. I've absolutely loved it. I suspect the sixth storyline, we would, kind of thinking, right, well, Christmas, probably the anniversary, and
Be
yet
done by
now
then. Yeah.
I think it will be done by then. So, which kind of
Yeah.
begs the question: after everything that happened this week, what the hell is happening for the 40th?
Well, but this is it. I'm not so sure. I can't quite decide. I think next week we'll have some more answers about whether it's fully
Yes.
done.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
does
yeah.
kind of feel like I
A
wasn't
lot of
expecting
it
it to be
felt tied up.
revealed like this
No,
week.
a lot of it felt quite tied up this week, I thought. There's a few little
Mm.
threads that still need to sort of be tied up, but
Mm.
nothing, there's no
Well,
like
we'll get
major
to that,
secrets,
shan't
I
we?
don't think. Yeah, we will get to that. Oh, what a week we have to discuss. Before we get there, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
it's September, so now we've got to change to Peggy. Yes, we have. So
Do
that
you
was
remember?
Peggy in
Sorry.
heatwave mode. The
Oh
summer is now
yeah.
gone. We're not in summer anymore, Ree. We are now in
Ah,
September.
what summer? We didn't
What
have one.
summer? We had a
I
bit
think
of
we
a
had
heat
two
wave.
weeks.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was it. But this is September. Ah, Frank and Peggy. Frank and Peggy getting
Why
wed.
not? Hey.
Oh, hello, sweetheart. I know my little pumpkin tree.
Ah.
You will get in my little passion flower.
To think that both of them aren't here with us anymore
I
either.
know.
It's quite
Bless
sad,
them.
isn't it?
That's a lovely picture. I really like that. So if you're just listening, we've got Frank and Peggy cutting their wedding cake. And that wedding,
Looking very happy.
yeah, that didn't last, did it? Thanks to
Not for
Pat.
long.
Thanks to Pat, that did not last
Nice one,
long.
Pat.
Right. I think we better get on with this week's Albert Square After Dark. Right, before we begin talking about the six, we've got to briefly discuss Chelsea's storyline. That was sort of the only thing that was really referred to that wasn't six related, and even that was a little bit six related because of Denise.
Well, yeah, because of Denise, yeah.
But Amy has woken up. It turns out that she has broken her pelvis and will be wheelchair bound for a few weeks. So it's either going to be that we're going to see her in the wheelchair or we just won't see Amy for a few weeks and then she'll be like, God, that was a rough 3 weeks in my wheelchair. My God. Hope that never happens to me again.
Yeah.
Chelsea, racked with guilt, obviously. Jack, still trying to push Penny away. Not interested
Sorry,
in
Lauren as well,
play.
by the way. We predicted
Yeah.
Lauren would be walking out on Monday absolutely fine with
And she
some
did.
meds.
Yeah. And doing that thing, whenever anyone gets anything related to a punctured lung in
Holding
soap,
aside.
holding us up. My
Hugging
lung.
it.
Oh, my lung.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
I'll
to
be all
remind
right.
you, with my
I'll be all
lung
right.
and my
Yeah.
rib.
I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But oh, Lord. So Lauren's fine.
Yeah.
Amy's okay. And Penny is being shut out, and Chelsea is just absolutely racked with guilt. And Denise is at the hospital when Amy wakes up, but she's a little bit distracted because of everything that's going on with the court case.
Mhm.
But what she overhears is Chelsea sort of going around the nurses trying to find out how everybody else who was involved in the crush is doing. Now, nobody's died, we don't think, but she was just kind of quite intently saying, can you tell me what's going on? Can you tell me what, like, people that she's never met? And the nurses are like, leave me alone, you weirdo. And Denise kind of overhears this and is sort of like, why? What's going on with you? You're hiding something. Can you tell me what it is, please? Because trust me, I really don't need this week. So can you tell me what's going on, please? And Chelsea eventually confesses her involvement in the crush. Some nice scenes there between mother and daughter. I thought it was interesting, kind of thinking about if she had told this to Denise at any other time, would her reaction have been different, do you think?
Yeah, that's true. What you mean, given what Denise has been through with the
Yeah,
six?
and is going through this week.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know, actually. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think
She'd
so.
have probably
I think
been like, right, I'm telling Jack now.
she'd have grabbed her by the ear, marched her down to Jack in the
Yeah.
police station. Right, you tell him what you
She
just
can
told me.
Yeah, she can be a bit more empathetic to, we all panic when we've
Yeah.
done something wrong and start. Yeah.
It was.
But
It was.
also puts her in a good place to say, but you probably should,
Probably should, because as she says to Chelsea, guilt eats you up.
Mhm.
And my God, has guilt had a full tummy this week, hasn't it?
Oh, good one. Like that.
So it's Chelsea, I think, is probably next week going to sort of tell somebody what
Do you
went
think
on.
this is Do you think this is the end of the crush? Because I'm still feeling like one of these other patients is going to die, you know?
I don't know. I mean, it feels like because if the only sort of outcome from this is that Lauren's walking around going, "Oh, me ribs, oh, me ribs,"
Yeah,
and Amy's in a wheelchair for a little bit, but everybody else has sort of not really mentioned and made a full recovery. You sort of, I mean, I get the guilt. Don't get me wrong, I get the guilt, and I
yeah,
think it's maybe more to do with the fact that she is looking at this family kind of disintegrating because of her actions in terms of Jack and Penny. So I wonder if that's more going to be the angle they go to it towards rather than someone dying.
okay,
Because if they do go for someone dying from it, then that's going to mean a whole massive police investigation, and Chelsea will
true.
eventually end up going to prison. So I feel like that's not the route they're
Or
going to go
Phil as
down.
well, because Phil earns it. He has
Yeah,
some responsibilities over
yeah,
it all as well,
yeah.
you would think.
And I feel
So, yeah,
like after the six storyline, the last thing the show will probably do is do another lengthy storyline of people keeping secrets from the
true.
police and their true involvement in a death, essentially. You know,
Mm,
it's my
yeah,
gut feeling, but you never know. You never know. So that's going to kind of kick off again, I think, properly next week. So we are now going to do things a little bit differently because this week was pretty much all encompassing around the six storyline.
yeah,
So the best way we thought of doing this was sort of going episode by episode and sort of talking about the various twists and turns of everything that occurred during the six storyline and its almighty whopper of a climax. So let's start with Monday. So, the day of Dean's trial has arrived, and the six are nervous, and Bernie is resolute. Obviously, last week, previously on EastEnders, Bernie had spray painted the word murderer under Sharon's door. We sort of opened the week with Sharon like desperately trying to scrub it off the door. Now, normally that doesn't work. I thought it was working quite well on Sharon's door. Can I just say whatever she was using? The next
she'll
time I,
know. She'll
well,
know
yeah,
all the
it's like,
cleaning. You'll
yeah,
know how to clean stuff once you've got a
well, you know
toddler in the
why?
house,
Well,
Rob.
no, not even that. Not even with toddler. The fact that Sharon wears so much white, she knows how to get
That
stubborn
is
marks
true.
off
She knows how to get a
anything.
stain out.
She
Yeah, that
does.
is
She
true.
does. Yes. So the day arrives. The six are all sort of like really jumpy. It's baby Charlie XEX's birthday. Her first
I
birthday.
can't
Can you
believe
believe
that.
one? She's one. Can you believe this?
How
This
is
is what
she
kids
one?
do. Like, well, a year has passed since she was born. That's kind of how it
Wow.
works. But Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah. You've had that happen a few times to your kid now, like years passing
just
and they
twice,
just
but
gets
yeah,
older. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Young mother that you are. But obviously Stacey is due to give a statement at the trial as well. So she's a tiny bit distracted. Lily's getting stroppy with her because she's not really paying that much attention to the organisation of a party, which, by the way, turned out to be basically the Slaters using any excuse to have a karaoke party, which I had to
Mate,
admire. Cat was having a
it
great
were
time.
it's a bit similar to our
Yeah.
to Mira's birthday
Is
party,
it? Is that
my
exactly what
daughter's,
you
yeah.
did?
Because she's got
Did
a
you sing
karaoke
ABBA?
machine and she loves ABBA. She absolutely loves ABBA, and I
No
was like,
way. Yeah.
wait,
Were you
hang
wearing
on.
leopard? Were
Am
you
I
wearing red
a
leopard
Slater?
print? I think. Well, deep down, I think you'd make a great Slater.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to be a Slater, actually.
Slater. I think that's
Reese
got a ring
Slater.
to it.
All
Slater. I
right.
like that. What would I be? Who would I? What family would I be in?
Oh, what family would you be in?
You'd be a Slater. What would I be?
For
Rob.
some reason, my gut said Mitchell, but you're not a Mitchell at
Rob.
all.
Rob Mitchell.
Although,
Rob
although
Mitchell.
I
I like
don't
that.
know,
That's
you
got a ring
know,
to it, hasn't it? Rob Mitchell. I
you'd be
could
like a
be.
different type of Mitchell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you know what I'd be? I would be like this really sort of like I'd be like this long lost, I don't know, cousin or something that comes in
Yeah.
and like I'm a bit camper than like not your normal Mitchell bloke is. And I'm like one
Mhm.
of those sorts of I turn into eventually this Janine type villain, but I'm a bloke and I'm an evil camp bloke. I think I would be love that. That'd be great.
Love it. I'm here for it.
That's what I'm
Sorted.
doing.
Done.
Rob Mitchell
Done.
arriving on your screens before too long. Anyway. So the trial begins. The six
Mhm.
all turning up in their colours, which I love. Nice touch. Likes that. So I tell you,
Fantastic.
the colours are just going to be associated with these women forevermore now.
I kind of wanted a moment or more to look at each other and go,
Why are you wearing that colour?
is we're
Why?
wearing the same colours as Christmas
Yeah,
Day again?
yeah. Do you think
Look
do you think they're
at
aware of
that.
that? Do you think they're actually kind of aware? I mean, Suki
Sick.
always wears a lot of blue anyway. Like
Yeah.
Suki's always had blue as her color before any of
Mhm.
this kicked off. I feel
Yeah.
like,
I feel like Denise is green as well, or is
yeah,
that
really,
just because
yeah.
of the
I
six
feel, and
stuff?
to
But
be
I
fair,
feel like
even Linda with the pink, like it's
Linda's
always been,
always worn
yeah,
pink.
because she is a
And you just
flamingo.
said Sharon wears a lot of white.
Yeah, so
And
yeah.
Stacey's always worn a lot of red
Yeah,
now.
so
Come
there you
to
go.
think.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, they planned this out well, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
But Stacey kind of takes advice off Mo because Mo is basically saying just play dumb. They can't get you if you play dumb.
And just say
Uh,
what was that? If you
what
need
was
time,
that?
just say I
Sorry,
didn't
I didn't hear
hear you.
that. What did you say there? Sorry, I don't understand that question. Do apologise. Say that again. Sorry. And that's exactly what Stacey does. Like, she starts getting asked some slightly awkward questions that she's not quite sure how to answer. So she just goes, "Sorry, I didn't quite hear you say that. What did you say that?" And the judge starts getting impatient and says to the defence barrister, "Are you getting anywhere with this? Because I'm bored. So hurry up." This judge. We'll talk about the judge in a moment. Because my
We
God,
shall.
we shall. I mean, the judge. Whatever we might think of him as a character, the guy who plays him needs to be going into voiceover work because
Oh
his
yeah,
voice
yeah, yeah,
is so
yeah,
rich. He wants to be doing. I
yeah.
want him to play a villain in a Disney movie. It'd be fantastic. Can I just say I love court scenes. I absolutely love court scenes. I feel like when they're done right, they are so intense. They are taut. They are like, and they tend to be quite lengthy scenes as well. I absolutely love them. The best court scene I ever saw in a soap. This is showing my age here slightly, was in Brookside many, many, many years ago. It's worth hunting out on YouTube if you can find this, if you're a fan of like iconic soap scenes. It was at the height of the Mandy Jordache trial, that was the classic storyline of the body under the patio, and she got found out and the court case arrived, and basically the whole episode was essentially a two-hander between her and the defense barrister, like going in on her and completely destroying her case. It's an amazing episode of TV drama on its own. It's great. So I love that sort of thing. So ever since I saw that, I've been kind of quite attached to like court scenes because I always feel like they're always fun to watch and quite intense. um but yeah, Stacey's thing goes all right.
Back to EastEnders.
Back to EastEnders. Just thought I'd have that little diversion.
No, that's good.
Um, Back to EastEnders. Stacey kind of gets off scot-free. Like, her statement goes all right, and she's kind of quite happy. And so she goes and joins the rest of the six. And he turns up eventually from the hospital, like just sort of strolls in late, like she's in a class. Like, sorry about that. And then Sharon is pulled up onto the stand. Goes
Yes, she
less well.
is.
Goes much less well.
It starts well.
Starts
She
well.
held her own really
Yeah,
well, didn't she? She was
yeah,
very Sharon about
yeah,
everything, really calm and collected. And then they had to mention how many husbands she's had, didn't they, Rob?
yeah. I mean, she has had a lot, to be fair. She has had a lot.
Yeah,
Do you know what?
but
Do you know what
would the
triggered that
same
though? Is what
go on.
triggered that was the fact that she turned around and was just like, "Yes, Keanu was the love of my life,
Yeah.
the love of
Yeah.
my life," and it's like,
How many
right,
loves of your life have you had?
let's go through the loves of your life, shall we, Miss Watts, and tell me how much you actually loved Keanu. Is basically their attack line.
Yeah, I mean, Sharon said it as well. Like, don't
Stop
slut
slut
shame me
shaming
and
me
all that.
in the court of law.
Well,
Can you stop
oh,
slut
yeah,
shaming me,
I
please?
know. But
I thought it
she
was
was
quite funny.
right because
She
you
was
can't
right,
help
yeah,
but think, had that been a male version of
yeah,
Sharon, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Ian Beale, would
Oh
they have
yeah.
used that against him in a court
100%,
case? How many wives he's
100%, or even
had?
Phil. Yeah, hundred
Yeah,
percent.
they wouldn't, would they?
No, but I do kind of feel that as camp and slightly ridiculous as that whole setup was, I can't help but feel that there is definitely been courts before in real life that have got a ever so slightly promiscuous woman standing on the stand, and they've just completely and utterly used her own
Oh, yeah,
fairly
yeah.
irrelevant personal history to destroy their witness statement.
Well, that was interesting because that somebody questioned what I think it was the defense barrister. Well, or was it the
the
prosecutor? The
the
ones on
good
the side of the
barrister, the good
six.
barrister, and the
The
bad
good,
barrister,
yeah.
the good guy,
Said,
the good
where's
lady.
this leading
Yeah,
to?
yeah, yeah,
And Dean's barrister said, well, it's, to show her character. And it's like, why is that showing character?
yeah,
How many husbands she's had?
yeah.
And why did the judge say, yeah, go on then, let's talk
Yeah,
about
yeah, well, yeah. I'm intrigued.
the
Yeah, as if he was
stating
reading, as if he
history.
was about to sit down and read Heat magazine or something. Like
Yeah,
it's,
like,
and then when it's revealed that Sharon has had, Keanu would have been wedding number four,
and
or
oh, and two of those husbands were
which
brothers
were brothers. Yeah, I mean to be fair,
that he made sure to
yeah,
explain.
one of which is the true father of Albie.
Yeah,
The judge kind of goes, "Oh my word!" Which let's be real right now, that wouldn't happen. Okay, of
no,
course that wouldn't happen.
absolutely not.
Of course it wouldn't
So
happen.
unrealistic. Even from a dinosaur like that, George, that would
Yeah,
not happen.
but I went from saying to my head, "Well, that wouldn't happen. That's ridiculous," to absolutely pissing myself when Sharon turned around and went, "When you could shut your mouth and all." It really
You
made
would
me laugh.
though. You
I
would
did.
though,
I
wouldn't
you
you?
would 100%. It really made me laugh. And then to tell it, then to tell him to shove his warning. I was loving it. I know it was completely unrealistic, but I
Yeah,
didn't
no.
care. It was just so camp and
Yeah.
so ridiculous that I think we weren't supposed to be taking it that seriously,
We
especially when you
just
consider
needed to
what
get,
it's going to lead up to. Because
well, this is it.
Sharon gets held in contempt. Can I say, I don't think I actually realised what being held in contempt was. Like, you see people getting threatened with it in soaps all the time. I will hold you in contempt. But I don't think I actually realised what it meant. I don't think I realised that you actually get sent to prison for it. I didn't know what it
Yeah,
meant so much.
I
I thought it
assumed
just,
it, I thought it was just like, yeah, you've disrupted a court
yeah,
case. You're like being really bad in a court case,
yeah,
contempt. So,
yeah. But I
yeah,
don't think
I
I,
always imagined that they did go to jail for a bit, like
weird, isn't
basically
it?
like Sharon. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't think that, I'll go, I get sent, if I've done that, I'd now get sent to prison for a week. Yeah,
For
I don't
saying
know.
don't slut shame me when you're
Yeah,
slut shaming
you
me.
shut your
Well,
mouth, judge.
but you know what though? This is an example, and I know, Rob, I know that you hate women and everything,
Oh, I
but
hate women.
this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
an
yeah. Hate women.
this
God.
is an example of women
She says
having to
this
shut
all
their
the
mouth
time.
and just take a load of rubbish, though, isn't
Well, she
it?
didn't though, did
Because had
she?
she, yeah, but exactly, and then when you do stand up for yourself, you get held in contempt of court. When
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
what's all her husband's got to do with this,
I agree.
really,
I
in the
fully
grand
agree.
scheme of things?
I fully agree.
And why has Richie not got her out already and said, "Come on, this judge has got an history of it"? No,
Oh yeah,
no. Well, we
You'd
know
expect
why.
Richie, yeah, to be able to do anything. But
And
I,
she's
yeah,
like, "Hang on, I've heard there's a return though, so let's just keep
yeah.
Sharon,
Let's just keep, let's
behind
see where
bars
this
for a
goes.
week."
Let's just see where this goes. I mean, to be fair, Richie, whenever she gets pulled out of bed at 2:30 in the morning, she's never happy about it. It's just like, do you know what? You could
No,
stay in prison, getting me up at this time in the morning to go deal with stuff. Ridiculous.
telling a judge to shove his wad in. What do you expect, woman?
So Sharon is
Yeah,
effectively dragged out of the courtroom, kicking off and
yeah,
screaming, just as Linda arrives to give her statement.
of
And
course.
basically, Sharon says, "Right, well, I'm screwed, so it's all on you now." Which is not the best thing to say to Linda because of all the pressure that she knew was on her anyway. And
Mm,
now, literally, the entire thing rests on her shoulders.
yeah,
And she reacts perfectly reasonably to this. Starts crying, turns around, and runs away.
and says, "I can't do it.
Can't
See you
do it.
later."
See ya. Just as the six are sort of coming out, they're all looking on in horror, watching their lives disintegrate in front of them. Sharon gets dragged away, and that's the
Mm,
end of Monday's episode. Um, like I say, yes, the whole thing with Sharon was a bit ridiculous, but I
mm.
thought it went from the ridiculous to the kind of sublime because I thought it was just so funny and just
It's
it
it.
amused me. I'm sorry.
At the end of the day, they needed to get her behind bars
Yeah,
somehow, and this is how they've done it.
yeah,
And
and I don't think it's that deep, to be honest. I know I saw some
no,
people really kicking off about like the sexism on Twitter, and I get it, but at the same time, sort of like, it's I mean, I would say that being a man, but it's I
well,
don't think
exactly, Rob. You
and
know what I
hating women
mean?
like I do, but I just don't think it's that deep, really. I really don't. I just think it was supposed to be
See,
ridiculous to the point of
yeah, but I
amusement.
was annoyed as well though because it's like, do you take it realistically or do we take it at face
I,
value? Which one
it's,
is it? Because yeah,
is
but the
this the
six
realistic
storyline.
storyline?
But then again, yeah, oh, like, but the six storyline's been really serious. But actually, when they were trying to
Has
bury the
it?
body, it wasn't
Come
that
on.
serious, was
You've
it?
got six of the show's campest women dressed in pretty camp outfits doing
Colors of the
this.
rainbow.
Yeah, exactly. This is practically a gay pride story. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really, really it's yeah, it's been engrossing to the point of just like I mean, honest to God, I was a mess this week with just the twists and turns because I've gotten so into this storyline.
Mm.
So and they've had these little moments here and there where you just sort of think, really, but hey, okay, I'll just go with it. It's been one of those things where you just think, screw it. Let's yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. That probably wouldn't happen, but hey,
Mm.
this is a fun ride, so let's just go along with it.
I think they had to do it quite quickly as well in that
Yeah.
like that one episode to show
Yeah,
it. So then it
because a
does
lot
feel a
happened.
bit,
Yeah.
yeah. So then it does feel a little bit forced almost, let's
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, it
It's not
is
that
what it
deep.
is, isn't it?
It's not that deep, really, is it?
No,
Is in my
no.
opinion. So there we go. That was Monday's episode. Sharon's in prison effectively, and Linda has run away. Will she get on the stand? Well, that question was answered on Tuesday. So on to Tuesday's episode. Where Linda has run away to is a hotel. I don't know where this hotel was, but she's literally just sort of hiding away, like against the wall, freaking out about everything, and staring at this free bar that's there. Now, let's say the free bar looked pretty full. I thought
Rob, it
she
won't be a free bar, it's a mini bar.
Oh, well, look,
Just no, just
this is
remember that next
why.
time you go to a
Yeah,
hotel and you get all
yeah.
those extra charges, it's not free.
Yeah,
It's
see,
not a
this is where
free
this is
bar.
where I always go wrong when I stay in a hotel. I absolutely empty the mini
I bet
fridge.
you actually do, don't you?
Yeah, and then I wonder why I'm charging more than I thought I was going to be
Yeah, they see
charging.
you
But I
coming,
never
don't they?
argue with it. I never argue with it because I'm just like, yeah, I'm sure that's
Well,
fine.
you
Yeah,
can't because it's a
VAT
mini
charges
bar.
or something. Yeah, they don't tell you that though, do they? They don't. I don't think they tell you that. There's not a big poster on. They
It's
should
quite a
be.
common fact,
Nah,
Rob.
there should be a big old sign on the door that says, if you have anything in here, we're going to charge you for your ass.
I'm
So
pretty
just
sure
be
they have one
aware.
in the fridge, and it's just a known thing, Rob. It's a known thing. You go to an offie if you want a drink in your hotel
An
room.
offie. I was going to say,
Yeah.
we don't all spend our time in hotels, soz.
Oh, God. Last time I went to one, we probably were you in London or something.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Actually.
Yeah, I went through that minibar quite quickly as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Now it makes
so
sense. Anyway, sorry, we digress.
everyone is trying to get hold of Linda. They've no idea where she is. Johnny's desperately trying to ring her, and she's just ignoring all calls. I don't know what she thought she was going to do at this point. I don't think she even knew.
Yeah.
But I think she was more distracted with the fact that she was trying to not drink. I think that was her main sort of
Yeah.
issue. She did so well with the non-drinking this week. Can we just say?
Didn't
She
she?
just didn't she just
Didn't she?
like I was
Yeah.
actually proud of her. That's how well
Yeah.
she did. Eventually Phil takes over the situation. He's like, well, this is ridiculous. I know how to get her back. So swipes Johnny's phone out of his hand and basically tells Linda something awful's happened at the hospital. Kid's dead. So you need to
It
get to the
went wrong
hospital.
though, were he? Got
No,
back.
they got her back. It worked. Didn't I don't think he was saying the kids were dead. I think he was saying like the kids had been
Said
in a
they've been in a
terrible
car
car
crash.
accident.
Yeah.
Would you have believed him if you like? Would you have believed him? Because
You wouldn't risk it as a mother though. You just
no,
wouldn't
that's
risk
true.
it.
That's true, I suppose. Because
Like if there's even 10% chance this is true, I need to get to the
yeah,
hospital
it would
now.
be a bit of
So
a coinky dink that you tell me this just as I'm trying to hide from everybody. But okay, I better
yeah,
go
but
just to
with
make sure.
her mind being so all over as well, and then just getting that text, and then
Yeah,
she's ringing and they're not answering, you
yeah,
would just go,
yeah.
right, I need to go and find out what's happening. So
It ain't Phil's first
well
rodeo with this sort
played,
of thing, is
Phil
it? Yes,
Mitchell. Well played.
well played, Philip. So yeah, as we say, Linda rushes to Wolford General,
Mm,
and who's waiting for her but the rest of the six, just standing there, arms folded. Oh hi, I've decided to come here, have you? Right, okay. Obviously not Sharon because Sharon's being held in contempt, but the rest of them
yeah.
are basically like, look, all right, we get it, okay. We get the pressure's on. All right. This is no one is denying that this is a shit situation, okay? But we need you to do this. Otherwise, look how scared you were of your kids being in hospital, right? That shows how much you care about your family, and we feel the same way. We need to not be in prison. Okay. So eventually Linda is like, fine, I'll do it. So she goes to court
Mhm.
and she absolutely slays it, doesn't she?
Of course
Like
she
she is
does. Of course
so
she does.
good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good. Um, like and this defense barrister obviously because we know his style now like goes in
Hmm.
low effectively he tries everything including I wanted to slap him. Held up a glass of water and was just like, do you like a drink, Linda? I was like, oh, bastard. Oh,
Yes. Well, he didn't
yes.
wait, did he? She just
Didn't
openly
work.
admitted it like she
Yeah,
should.
my
Yeah,
name's Linda Carter and I'm an alcoholic and I
yeah,
may be an alcoholic but I know full well what I saw. He killed Keanu. Absolutely
yeah.
slayed it. Dean is
What was she worrying
furious.
about all this time?
I
That's what
know,
I want to know. Look at her.
I know.
Smashed it.
She absolutely smashed it. I was so impressed by it. I almost stood up and applauded. She did so well. And the rest of the six are sort of like, that's that sorted then. We're
Yeah.
okay. Dean's furious, not only with Linda, but with his defense barrister. So
Hmm.
he decides to go rogue, doesn't he? And
It's
my
so stupid,
God.
isn't it? I'm sorry,
I
but
don't know what I mean. I get what because it kind of works, but at the same time, it sort of totally didn't work at all.
but it's like he was so angry that he's like, well, I'm going to admit to it then. And it's
Yeah,
like he just didn't think it through, did he? In his head, he was thinking, I'd rather go down for a crime I did commit than the one that I didn't. I think that's what he was thinking. And I
yeah,
would guess that there's less jail time for
I
rape
think
than
so.
murder.
But this is the problem. Because I didn't realize that this was going to disrupt the whole court, like the whole
It's a
case.
mistrial.
Yeah,
Cause a mistrial,
I
yeah.
didn't think that maybe he knew that that was going to happen because I didn't because he confessed
Yeah.
to it and I was sort of
Mm,
like I kind of got what he was trying to do was trying to discredit the whole witness
mm,
statement thing, saying, well, they're just trying to set me up because I did this. which I thought would have just
Well,
made the case continue, but not end it completely. Because I was like, how stupid are you?
mm,
There's women in the jury. Are they surely not going to turn around and say, all right, pig. Yeah, I don't care if you did it or not. Down you go. So
it must be why they weren't allowed to bring it up before he admitted to it, though,
yeah,
because you would have thought that the defense barrister might have said, "Oh, well, she's only claiming it because she's claimed this against Dean before, and actually he destroyed her marriage and family dynamic and blah blah blah." If he
mm,
didn't use that against Linda, then they must have known that it might cause a mistrial. I don't know. Did they class them both as irrelevant? So they said you're not allowed to bring it up. I don't know.
well,
I don't know.
either way, this throws the court out of
Don't matter
out
because
of
Dean
out of
said
whack
it.
completely. Dean
So,
said it. The case is basically completely and utterly destroyed there and then. The judge is like, well, I don't know what to do with that. I'm just
mm.
the
Or
judge.
do you think in Dean's head he were thinking, well, if I'm admitting to rape, then they'd see why would I not admit to murder? So
Mm,
obviously I'm telling the truth about the murder. Was that his
yeah,
logic
probably.
somehow?
Let's
Maybe.
be fair. It's a very desperate move he pulls, and
Yeah.
we're not entirely sure that it worked in his favor because either way, he
No.
ends up getting dragged to prison in the end.
Yeah.
Um, but this is a huge moment. Okay, when he said it, what an amazing moment that was. Actually, I
Mm.
thought my jaw hit the floor when he said that. It really, really did because that felt like such. And you get these quite rarely in soaps these days because of the fast pace of soaps, I think. But those earned moments that this has been 10 years in the making that we know has sort of been hanging there over Linda's life for 10 years. And finally, he has publicly confessed to raping her. And this is just like, wow, what a moment that was. It felt
Mm.
absolutely huge, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Really, really strong. But that throws the whole court case into disarray, and Linda is just sort of left gobsmacked. That all of the six are left gobsmacked by what happens next.
Mm.
And what happens next is Wednesday's episode. So, with the trial halted while Dean's confession to the rape is basically investigated, Linda's feeling fairly upbeat. She's like, "Well, that's all I wanted to hear. Fantastic." She's basically skipping around the Vic kitchen singing Zippity Doo Dah. She's having a great day.
Mm.
The rest of the six, however, not so pleased with the outcome because this, as Kathy points out to her, you realise that this means that because the witness statements are now at risk of being discredited, that means all of this has to start again. We're going to get re-interviewed. The trial's going to continue. Everything is just going to keep. This is never
Yeah.
going to end. All right, this hell that we've been going through for the past year, that's never ever going to stop. All right.
Mm.
So Linda's good mood is somewhat diminished quite
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Um, I just felt for Linda from this point onwards. I really, really did because she's just so. And I think from this point, you really start to sort of see what the six are going through Linda's eyes, which I thought was quite
Yeah.
clever the way they did this because obviously we sort of had looks at Stacey and the sort of the impact that her not really being there for Charlie's birthday is sort of having. It's just sort of like, she's got this big family that loves her and that she loves. She's got a lot to leave behind. Suki and Eve we take a look at this week. And again, I'm so surprised. I was expecting Eve to know by the end of the week, if I'm honest. I
Same.
thought that's where this was going because
Yeah.
Suki is one of the only ones that hasn't actually told anybody. As if anything,
Hmm.
Suki should tell Eve because Eve would
Yeah.
be probably out of everyone that knows, probably the best person to tell.
She'd probably been better than Johnny as well because she's got more experience
God,
on the
yeah.
lawyer front, hasn't
Yeah.
she?
The only difference, yeah, the difference is that Johnny is currently a practicing lawyer, but Eve, I
Mm.
reckon, would be perfect.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of putting their relationship under a little bit of strain because Eve
Mm.
can tell that she's kind of holding a secret back from her.
Yeah.
It's like, do we not talk? Is that not our thing? And it's Suki's like, it is, but I can't talk to you about this. I'm sorry. And it's really sort of eating them up from inside. It's kind of interesting to sort of see the way that their relationship is playing out. And so basically the guilt of this is just gnawing away at Linda non-stop, and she's really needing a drink. She really is getting haunted by what happened on Christmas Day, like looking down at the floor, kind of once upon a time we'd have seen Kiani's body lying there, but they did all that with Denise. So I'm pleased that they didn't sort of like we
Yeah.
got it. We looked at the floor, we got it,
Yeah.
we got what she
Yeah.
could see. And she runs into the barrel store and grabs a bottle of vodka and is just about to take a sip, but then she throws it away. She's hitting herself.
This were an
Let,
amazing scene,
let's
this.
talk about Kelly Bright for a moment, right? Like
She's great, isn't she?
I would go as far to say, I think she's probably one of EastEnders' greats of all time.
Yeah, she
Like
is. She's
she
really good.
is stunning this week. She absolutely is amazing.
Because actually, a scene like that could have very easily looked cheesy.
Yeah,
but it didn't at all. She
100%.
like it. Yeah, you really felt for Linda as well in that moment. It
Yeah,
was just amazing, and I
yeah.
knew something were going to kick off with all these camera angles we had of Linda. I was like, what's she going to
What are the
do?
camera angles called, Ree?
Oh, shut up, Rob. Cinematic. I
Cinematics,
don't
right?
know.
Before we started, Ree said, "Right, you'll know
God's sake.
what are those camera angles called?" I was like, "I don't know what they're called." She's like, "She was when it's a bit blurry in the background, you're focusing on the subject of the shot."
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but they did that, which implied that Linda was very much the focus of the episode. Basically, it was quite
And that something
cinematic.
was going to happen.
Yeah, reoffered panoramic. I don't think that's right.
No, it's not panoramic. It's like
No.
when you try and take a photo on your phone in portrait mode. They
Yeah.
used that a lot for Linda
Yes.
this week. There
Yes,
we
they
go.
did. Yeah, they just got the iPhone now. They didn't
They
bother
used
using.
portrait mode from
Yeah,
the
they
iPhone
didn't
for
bother
all
using
the
any.
scenes.
Yeah, they didn't bother using any of those BBC expensive cameras. Just got their iPhones out and
Why
filmed
would
it that
you?
way. Why bother?
Yeah.
They're having to make cuts these days. iPhones are the way. Oh, phones of the future. So Linda is just basically losing her mind and
Mm.
rings somebody. Did you kind of suspect who she was going to ring at that point?
No, I was like, is it Mick? Is he back from the dead? How's she got
I
Mick's
saw this
number?
on
Where
I
is he?
saw this on Twitter. I was just like, can you imagine? That
Yeah.
makes no sense. Like
No, it didn't.
people actually saying Mick, she's rang Mick. I tell you, she's
That's
rang Mick. It
what
was like, what do you mean she's rang Mick? So what? You're saying that she's known he's alive all this time, and she just rings him now because she's struggling a bit because he's dead. Effectively, that's why she's in so deep with this because Mick's dead. That makes no
honestly,
sense.
but I
Get a
had
grip.
no idea who it was.
No,
I
I
just
wasn't
thought,
expecting
is
Phil.
it Mick? No, I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting Phil at all.
I wasn't expecting Phil, but I was actually so glad that it was Phil because actually I
Mm,
think the Phil and Linda relationship has maybe slipped a little bit under the radar in
yeah.
terms of those sort of non-romantic relationships that you kind of like to study in EastEnders. Now, do you think? What do you think?
I did say, if they both ever did get drunk at the same time, we'd have
Oh, I'd
another Phil
love to
Mitchell
see.
baby. We'd
I
have
would.
another Phil Mitchell baby running around that square. I'm telling you now.
Christ, no.
I'm telling you
But
now.
I don't want another baby. But I tell you what, I do agree that I would love to see Phil and Linda piss together just for an episode and just sort of
It
see how
would be
that
good,
played out.
wouldn't it?
You're right. They would probably
Yeah, but
definitely sleep
then
together.
would they
But
then
if
not be able to be sponsors though if that happened? I don't know how
I
that
don't
all
know,
works,
but
but you'd
I've really
think.
yeah. But I have really enjoyed sort of the element of Phil being Linda's sponsor and sort of
Mm,
going along and offering semi-helpful advice every time that she's kind of falling off the wagon. But this scene especially was like the ultimate hilt of that because these two hated each other right at the start of their relationship, and
yeah.
they've really grown as sort of people that kind of I don't think you necessarily describe them as mates, but it's like I don't think they'd admit to being mates, but I think they've actually kind of grown quite reliant on each other a little bit. Linda
Mm.
more on Phil, but I feel like I wonder if with the Phil loneliness storyline going on, I wonder if Linda might be a help to him moving forward with that, so they can sort of throw that
I
back.
don't think there is a Phil loneliness storyline going on anymore.
What do you mean?
We've not seen it. We've not
We've not
seen
seen
any of
it,
it.
but yeah, but they've been a bit
You still
busy with
think
other
it's in the
stuff.
background, do
Yeah, of
you
course it
reckon?
is. What was the
You
point of the
think?
Duff? Yeah, of course it is. Otherwise, what was the point of the Duff Duff where he was crying and looking at all his pictures on the wall?
Oh
Of course
yeah,
it
that's
is.
true.
Yeah, of course it is.
Mm,
And I wonder if Linda will ultimately sort of help him out of that. I think that might be
possibly,
quite
yeah,
nice.
definitely. Yeah, help him out of that. You know what I
Maybe
mean?
help him out of that. Anyway, yeah. So there we if you're only listening on audio, thank Christ.
Yes.
Right, so this continues, and they basically
Yes.
Linda is sobbing into Phil's arms, and it's just like, and Phil basically says to her, right, yeah, look, you need to just understand the fact this is your life now, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, you're an alcoholic. Yes, you killed somebody, all right? None of that's ever going to go away. You're always going to be an alcoholic, and you always will have killed somebody. There's
So get
no,
over it, Linda.
yeah,
No, he
effectively,
didn't say
like.
that.
No, but
Yeah.
in terms of like, you need to just learn how to cope with
Yeah.
this right now without getting drunk to the point of killing yourself and
Yeah.
without sort of doing anything stupid about the fact, yeah, you killed somebody. Um,
It's like
and
it's life or death in it,
yeah,
basically. That is
effectively.
literally what he says to her.
So Linda then decides to, and I have to say, I was by this point absolutely like on the edge of my seat watching this. 'Cause I was like, "Don't do this, Linda," because I know she was doing it for what she considered to be the right reasons, but you sort of
Mm,
got the impression where this was going from that point onwards, didn't you? When she was just
yeah.
sort of walking like quite, like she clearly had an idea in mind, and then she arrives at the police station just as Dean's getting
Mm.
arrested and like pulled away, and there was
Oh
that.
yeah, like because they'd obviously be in the same corridor at the exact
They
same
would,
time. That
but
would always happen,
They
yeah.
would, but I thought it was quite interesting. I don't know whether this was intentional or not, but the last thing that Linda heard Dean say was "Get off me, get off me." So I
Oh, I
don't
didn't
know if
click to that. Yeah, okay, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if that kind of gave her a
definitely.
moment of like resolution, sort of. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but hey.
Hmm.
But she walks into the police room and confesses. She tells DCI Arthur's absolutely everything, and he's halfway through a sandwich. It's,
Well, she
it's
tells him everything.
well, that from
Her
her
version of
her version,
events that
yeah.
don't include the
Tries,
other six.
yeah,
Yeah.
tries to keep the rest of the six out of it, and even then, you're sort of like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't now. So Wednesday's episode ends with that. And what did you think? Did you think that, like, did you think he was going to believe her? What was your prediction as to how it was going to go from there?
I kind of thought he was just going to be like, it's all right. Go away.
Yeah,
Go away. Yeah, don't worry
it
about
was.
it. I'm not
Yeah,
going to record anything. I'm not going to log any of this.
yeah. It was
No.
kind of the
You,
only way that it could have gone, really, wasn't it? Because
yeah,
otherwise, everyone was going to prison.
exactly. Yeah.
So that wasn't going to happen. But it was a great duff. But I was
Yeah.
kind of like, there's only one way out of this
Mm.
now, is that she just isn't believed. And again, how realistic is that? I don't know. Probably not that realistic, but at the same
Well,
time, I
yes
don't
and no,
know.
though, because obviously he mentioned there were no evidence. So, well, what she was saying, sorry, didn't back up the evidence that they had. So, just like, well,
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
interesting
believe you,
that
can
they
I?
because actually I think maybe they've done a better job than they thought they had with this story that they've
Yeah.
told the police.
Yeah.
Like I think Linda thought that she would just walk in, confess it, and then he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, well that makes much more sense." Yeah, okay, cool,
Mm.
thanks. But that's not what happened. He was just sort of like, well, we'll talk about what he was like when we talk about the final episode of the week, which was Thursday. So he doesn't believe her, basically. He sort of is looking
Mm.
at her and asking her questions like, well, what? So you did that on your own, did you? Oh, but what about that? And that doesn't really make sense, does it, Linda? And Linda's like, what do you want about? I'm trying to help you out here. Like she's getting really, really het up with him. Getting
You'd
really annoyed with him.
think, you would think though, forensically, they can
Mm.
see that he was killed at a different location and then was already dead and buried
Yeah.
there, rather than what she was trying to imply, which was I stabbed him and he kind of fell in the hole, sort of thing,
Yeah. That happened to be a
and then
meat
I learned how to
thermometer
make cement
stuck in the
on my own.
ground.
Yeah, right. I just grabbed the meat thermometer that was in the burnt down calf,
Yeah.
stabbed him with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Her
bit dark.
story made no sense whatsoever,
No.
and I don't get what she thought was. I get why she did it, but I don't understand how she thought for a millisecond that she was going to be able to keep everybody else out of this because her story made no sense
She
whatsoever.
weren't,
There's no
but
way she could have done it on her own.
she weren't thinking clearly, was she?
No,
She
she wasn't.
literally
No.
went from like filling the cellar to I'm going to go and confess. There was
Yeah.
no time. There was no
No.
time to think things over properly. She probably just went, right. I'll just say I killed him in the calf. No one else were there. That'll solve everything.
Would it have been a little bit more? Would it have made slightly more sense if she had had a drink and then gone to do that confession drunk in terms of in terms of him turning her away at that moment?
But I think he did think that she'd had a drink.
She thought he had. So
Yeah.
is that basically what like you reckon?
Yeah, well, if you her hair were a bit of a mess. She had mascara.
All
No, but
right,
this is
Ree.
why no, but it was
Yeah,
deliberate so that we
yeah,
think that he'd
yeah,
think she was
yeah,
drunk. She had mascara all down her face.
yeah,
So it's believable for him to go, you've had a drink, haven't you?
yeah.
I'm gonna
Mm, mm,
discredit anything you've just said. It's
yeah,
obviously a load of rubbish. But why would he think that she's saying it? Like,
yeah,
why?
yeah,
Why would he think that she's saying it in the first place? What does it mean now? She's
yeah,
gone in and said this. Did she effectively say, I didn't see Dean, it was all a lie? He didn't
yeah.
let her say it, did he? Though he
No,
said, and if you then admit that, then you'll be
yeah.
getting done for perverting the
Course of justice.
course.
Ooh, course, bless me.
Bless
The
you.
course of justice. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, so yeah, I think he kind of thinks. I don't know. I feel like there was maybe a bit of a crumb sort of what each other what they were thinking
Mm.
about the situation missing in that moment because I feel like he should have maybe gone in a little bit further in trying to completely and utterly discredit everything that she was saying, but he basically just said that doesn't make any sense, and I'll give you some time to think about that. Off you go. And it was sort of like I don't know if he would have been that easy. I mean, maybe he just wanted to get back to his sandwich.
I was literally just going to say maybe like, I've had enough today. I don't need this drunk coming in
Let's
and
be
spouting
real.
all this rubbish, which is what he
Yeah,
thought.
let's be real. As much as we like DCI Arthur's, and he's a good guy, and he's one of the good ones, it is
Yeah,
still War.
yeah.
It's still Warford Police.
Mhm.
You can't guarantee that anyone in Walford Police is ever going to do their job properly. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So as Linda's leaving, Richie sees her. Now Richie has been sent by Phil to sort of try and make Sharon's life a bit easier. Spoiler alert: that's not going to happen. Um, but always nice to see Richie. I will always be
Always.
delighted to see Richie. And what I
Yep.
loved was the fact that Richie goes with Sharon when Sonia needed legal representation. She didn't get Richie.
No.
Absolutely
Well,
not.
it makes sense actually. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't Phil send Sharon? Especially now they've got a kid together. Of course he'd
yeah.
send
Richie,
Richie,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I love Richie so much. I know she's like a side character. No, is she a side character? She's like a sort of guest character, isn't she? But I would love it if, like, in like maybe I'd love it. I'd love Richie
A
just to move on
recurring
to the square.
character.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, I'd love Richie just to move on to the square. I really would. I love
No,
Richie.
it'd take away
You're
how
right. Take it from the
serious
treat of
something is
Richie.
to, yeah,
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 yeah.
definitely,
I know what you mean.
definitely.
Yeah,
And also, she must be on so much money. You could just imagine, like, it's like you said before, 1 a.m. Oh, Phil Mitchell's calling
yeah,
me. What now?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it. I want an extra 2 grand. You know what time it is, Phil?
Yeah,
All right,
but
Richard, just sort it, sort it.
one of my favourite lines of the week was from Richie though, where she walked into Sharon's cell and went, "Linda's gone rogue."
Yeah, yeah.
Love that because she has gone rogue, hasn't she? Linda
Mm.
has absolutely gone off
And
string.
also implies that Richie knows exactly what's gone
Of
on.
course she does.
Of course
Phil
she
would have
does. I
told her
know she
absolutely
does.
everything.
Yeah,
Linda,
yeah.
Richie couldn't give a shite as long as she gets her wage
No.
packet in. She's been working for the Mitchells for years. She probably
Yeah.
knows that even if she's told a lie, that's probably a lie. But let's not worry about
Yeah.
that. I love Richie. She's the best. Um, so naturally, Sharon's like, "Well, can you ring the rest of the six, please? Because we kind of all need to know about this." And she's like, "For God's sake, it's 2:30 in the morning, but fine, give us your
Fine.
phone." Which is when we then get that quite odd scene of like Suki ringing Suki up, and she's like, "All right,
Richie ringing
Rich."
Suki up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, Sue. How are you? All right, Richie. So the word goes around the
Yeah.
six that Linda's gone rogue, and everybody is sort of like, "What? What the hell do we do now?" Bernie, meanwhile, Bernie has been in court throughout the entire week and sort of watched
Mhm.
everything going on with Felix. Um, Felix, I wish just is given more to do. It was nice
I
to sort of see
know,
him in
because
the
you just
scenes.
see him and then it's like, oh, come on,
Yeah, come
Felix. What
on,
are you
let's
adding there?
give us
Yeah.
something give the boy a storyline for Christ's
They
sake.
do need to do
They
something with him,
really need to do something
definitely.
with
Yeah, they
Felix. Yeah,
do.
100%. He needs a storyline. Um, so Bernie, having walked out of having walked out of the calf at the beginning of the week, Kathy's I love the fact that Kathy actually had the gall to shout, "We need to make up these hours, you
Make
know."
these out. Yeah, but she's trying to keep face
I
as well, though,
know,
isn't
I
she,
know, I
Kathy? You
know.
know?
Yeah, to be fair, normally you'd probably say to someone, "Well, if you throw that apron on the floor, you can never pick it up again. You ain't
Yeah,
coming back."
exactly.
Yeah. So Bernie is now at the calf all night, just kind of scrubbing ovens and stuff. And Linda walks into the calf and says, "Well, I've told the police, so I may as well tell you now," and tells Bernie
Yeah.
everything.
But what didn't make sense to me when Linda tells Bernie everything is she
Mm,
tells her well, at first she doesn't implicate the six, but then she's saying like she went to the police and said Boxing Day,
yeah,
and then she goes to Bernie and says I should have said it on Christmas Day night. So it's
yeah.
like automatically, if you think Bernie is going to go forward to the police,
Mm.
you're dropping everyone in it already, Linda, by telling them two different stories. It didn't make sense to
Yeah,
me.
she wouldn't have helped. She wouldn't have helped herself. But Bernie reacts as you'd probably expect Bernie to react, in that she tries to throttle Linda, and
Like all tailors do,
like
eh?
all tailors do, it's a throttle. It's a tailor thing to throttle. The throttling tailors.
Mhm.
Another shout out to Claire Norris. Great performance from
Honestly,
Claire.
she was really good, like
Yeah,
incredible.
give
Like
her more things to do as well while we're at
honestly,
it.
she's a great little actor, isn't
She
she? Like
really
she's
is.
so
She
good.
really is.
Yeah.
Um, and the rest of the six sort of turn up at the cafe, and then it all is just revealed to Bernie at that moment, and
Mhm.
it just sort of makes you realize, like, poor Bernie, like she has been working in that with Kathy. Like Kathy's known everything this whole time. I'm surprised that maybe more wasn't made of that. Now
Yeah, yeah.
they had a little bit of a moment where she was turning around and going, "Did I mean nothing?" But I feel like they should have been more made out of the Kathy and Bernie dynamic
There
there.
might be more yet. There might
Yeah,
be
there
more.
might
There were a
be.
lot to fit in
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
one little
100%. Yeah,
reveal.
there might be, there might be. But everyone's just sort of freaking out, and Sue.
And I loved that, they're all trying to defend themselves and say, come on, Bernie, you can't, we've all got our families.
Yeah,
And then Bernie just gives them a speech
lucky
about what
you,
about my
lucky
family?
you.
Look
I've
what's
barely
happened
got
to
any
them.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, barely got any left
Yeah,
now, and that's half thanks to you lot. So cheers for that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
really, like you got a feel for her. But then that is what kind of brings me to the question of what happens from here.
exactly.
Like, really, why would Bernie keep quiet at this point?
Realistically, there's no way when she were on the phone to Karen, realistically, Bernie would have told her everything. I know
Yeah,
that we were supposed to see an element of she couldn't get the words out to tell
yeah,
her, but then to go from on that phone call to I can't cope to I'm all right, mum, everything's okay. It's like I'm just gonna go and see Keegan. So is that it? We're not gonna see Bernie next week. She's just gonna go to Keegan. What is she going to tell him? There's no way that Bernie can keep it to herself, surely. Surely
no.
she should be confiding in somebody as well.
And can I also say, it
Mm,
feels, I get that, characters run their course, but it
yeah,
feels like it was a very odd time to axe Karen.
I said that at the time, I
Yeah,
think.
it really
Yeah, it
does feel
was.
like it was the right. Like, I get it. You've decided that that character is, you can't do much more with that character,
Mm.
but then you do
But
a load
actually,
of stuff that you effectively then give her loads of stuff that she could be getting on with, and then
this could have been Karen, couldn't it?
yeah,
Not Bernie
yeah,
finding it
yeah.
all out. I'm glad that it's been Bernie, though,
Oh,
because I'm glad
I'm
Claire
delighted that
Norris
it's
has
been
had
Bernie.
something.
Yeah, but it's felt weird
But
with Bernie just dealing with it on her own.
yeah, definitely.
Because also, why would
Definitely.
Bernie stay around there? Also, like, would you not move?
This is what I'm thinking, though. I know we've not heard that she's leaving, but is she going to? Because
I don't
surely
know.
she's not going to want to stay
I
after
hope not.
this. If Bernie's not going to go to the police, which, if I'm honest with you, I don't think she would do in realistically, but she's
Yeah,
clearly not going to. Like
no,
that to me is apparent.
no,
She's not going to go to the
which
police.
feels odd.
You wouldn't stay, would you, and be
No,
surrounded by
because
all
actually,
these people?
because actually, what you've been left with up to now is this really sort of odd situation where Bernie has been living in a house where her sister was murdered and working in the place where
Working in
her
a
brother
cafe.
was buried. That's just weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like,
Why
why
did she
would you
carry
do?
on working in that
Why
cafe
would you carry on
anyway?
living? Why would
You
you
could
move into that
literally,
house?
but you could literally go and work in any other cafe
Yeah,
there in the area.
I
Like,
mean, let's not get it wrong. Bernie in the cafe has been a stroke of genius. She works
oh
so
yeah,
well in there.
perfect.
Like,
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I'm
but
not complaining
no,
about it,
it's
but
weird,
yeah,
isn't it? Like you sort of like
yeah,
I like it, but at the same time, it's sort of odd. At the same time,
yeah,
it is weird. Um, so yeah, and then the week kind of comes to the conclusion of the six are sort of like wait. I think like us, I think the six are sort of left in tandem. They're sort of waiting to
yeah,
see what happens next. And it feels like I think you're right. I feel like Bernie's just not going to say anything now, but I feel like I don't understand why she wouldn't.
exactly.
And
Unless
also,
it, yeah.
go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, unless we are going to have a scene with her and Kathy next
I
week,
hope so. I hope
Will
that
be
happens.
maybe that'll be the reason she
Mm,
doesn't say anything because Kathy will be able to talk around. She's
mm.
got a good relationship with Kathy.
Yeah,
She knows what Kathy's like as a person.
yeah,
If Kathy can really I mean, she kind of did it there when they revealed it and said, your brother was going to kill Sharon.
yeah.
It's funny that Bernie didn't question that to me there.
No.
Like she just took what they said were true
I
when
feel
she's never
like
seen that side to Keanu before.
she has because I seem to remember there was a few hints of a dark
With
Keanu
Karen, yeah.
in the run up, which Bernie I think was witness to. So it's
Right,
not like
okay.
she will not be aware that Keanu. I mean, let's not pretend that Keanu like throttling Sharon didn't feel like a very sort of random moment there and then.
Mm,
Okay, it did, but I feel like Bernie could sort of say, yeah, I can believe that Keanu would do that.
right, okay.
But at the same time, it doesn't, I think, take away from the fact that she would still be
Mm.
Team Keanu rather than,
Or
Team the
at
women that
least
buried him into the calf.
or at least
It's
have questioned it a bit more and said, I know you said it, but and I know that he could have a temper, but really, was
yeah,
he to the point he was going to kill Sharon?
yeah,
But then I guess that we had that moment when Linda said, I'm often thinking, would he have stopped or would he have carried on? And I couldn't
mm,
risk it. So maybe we've had all that ironed out in this one episode.
yeah.
Crazy if it has all just been
Yeah, it feels like
because
this is definitely like the sixth run on in its final days, sort of thing, doesn't
mm,
it? But it feels like there's a few little loose ends to be tied up. I still wonder, like, are the police done with this now? It feels like that investigation's still got to continue, surely, because if they've sent down Dean down for the rape, are they then going to reopen the investigation? Are they
well,
believing that he didn't murder them, or what? It's
this is it, because realistically, DCI authors should have been saying to Linda, wait there, or call her back in and say, I'm going to go and get someone else, and we need to question you on what you said that you saw with
yeah,
Dean, because
yeah.
you're coming to me and saying this, then the Dean stuff's, null, then what you said.
I also got an interesting message from someone this week, who was basically saying do you know, as much fun as the six storyline has been, and let's not pretend that this story has not been like
Yeah,
a great ride, with everything to do with the promo, the colors,
yeah.
the mystery and the campness of it all. It's all been great fun. But he was kind of arguing with saying, well, it also would have been kind of quite interesting if it had just been Sharon and Linda. Like, and Sharon had been forced to sort of hide. Now, I get what he's saying, but I also would not have sacrificed the madness of this whole storyline of the six and everything and all
But
the
I get that, but I
yeah,
also think the six women being involved is what's made it because
yeah, absolutely,
it's been
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
complicated.
It has, yeah. But you also kind of, you also kind of had that moment where basically Suki and Denise and Kathy, I feel like I would have liked to have had them all have to stand up at the stand at some point this week, rather than
Mm,
just Sharon, Linda, and kind of randomly Stacey. I would have quite liked all of them to have had their moment, so it just felt like they were
mm.
all in. I know, a lot happened this week, and they didn't have had time to do it all. I get that, but I feel like it would have given each
Well,
woman
it's
a role.
because I know what you're saying, but it was about Dean and
Yeah,
Stacey were pulled up because she's the one who claims that she saw Linda step out.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why they didn't have the others because really
yeah. I
they
also
weren't
kind of
involved
thought it was.
because they didn't see Dean.
Yeah, I
So
also thought it was kind of quite odd that Nish wasn't involved in the trial whatsoever as well.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, this is what I'm wondering now, right? Is Bernie gonna just go to Keegan's? We're not going to see her for a bit, or we might see
Mm,
a scene her leaving next week.
yeah.
We're all thinking it's over. Is she just going to come back for the 40th and tell everyone?
Mm.
I don't know because only last week she was going around saying Sharon's a murderer, Sharon's a
Yeah,
murderer. What now? Because these are all saying, oh no, actually it was self-defense. She's just going
yeah,
to calm down. I don't
yeah.
know. Something.
So
Well, maybe we
yeah,
need to see next week
yeah.
because
I don't, there's going to be a lot kicking off next week as well.
mm,
Because before we get to kind of
well,
the summation of
yes.
it all, final scene of the week: Sharon being let into her cell.
The
Now we
7
knew
days
what.
she's got, we know.
Yes. Now we knew what was coming, right? We knew kind of, we could kind
Yeah.
of figure, I bet I know what the Duff Duff to Thursday is going to be. So Sharon is led into her cell. There's someone asleep in the bed. Do you think that was her for a start? I
Yeah.
kind of did,
Yeah.
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 Would have been a little bit much to sort of say, oh, and they
Yeah.
happen to be sharing a cell. So I'm kind of glad
No.
that they
But
resisted
next
doing that.
door,
Next door, that's fine. And she's kind of led in, holding her bag, kind of looking all scared. And the prison guard goes next door, knocks on the door, produces a package of cigarettes, places it down on the table. Money's on the side. And then we get the campest shot I have ever seen. This, can I say, is what I want to be like if I ever get taken to prison. I want to be sat there, bathed in moonlight, with a prison guard on the payroll bringing me cigarettes, and I will smoke it in my cell and look up, bathed in the moon. I really, really do. Chrissy Watts. She is officially back. Now, first of all, my question is, and I feel like I'm picking too much here, and I feel bad for doing
No,
it,
go,
but
go, go, go.
my first question is, does somebody who is put in a cell for 7 days for telling a judge to shut his face, are they put in the same wing as murderers? Is that her thing? Does that happen?
Do you know what? The prison system at the
It's
moment,
odd,
from what
yeah,
I know, is odd
yeah.
and they are supposedly not over what would you call it? They're
Overstocked.
full. They're
Yeah,
full.
they're full. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
maybe, I don't know,
Maybe.
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
it's a small thing. Who cares? It's going to be one of those. Next week is going to be camp as tits. Okay,
yeah.
let's just accept that. It's going to be fun.
Maybe they would though, because she's gone in for contempt of court. It's not like she needs a court case. She's got to go and serve some time.
Yeah.
They won't keep her in a police cell for that long. So maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it is realistic.
So Chrissy is living next door to Sharon at the moment. I
Of
don't
course.
think so. Obviously, Sharon doesn't know that she's there. I don't think Chrissy's aware that Sharon's there yet.
You're allowed your smug moment, Rob. You called this with the murderer on the door, by the way.
Yes, I did. I'll have that. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Although I do feel like this has very much taken over the idea that I had of Linda and Janine. That's a shame.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a shame.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Linda was going to go to prison and Janine was going to be next door. That would have been. my
So,
my
do you
dream. But
reckon? Do you reckon? Because I saw somebody online say, "Oh, she's bribed a prison guard to make sure Sharon's next to her." It's like that wasn't what that money was. That was for
no, that
cigarettes.
was
Do
for
you
the
think Chrissy
cigarettes.
somehow knows that
Because if so, this bribe was
Sharon's
only
next
if
door?
so, this bribe was only 20 quid. I didn't cost her much, did it?
I was just going to say, isn't that the cost of cigarettes these days anyway for one
Yeah,
pack?
yeah, not
Not
far
far
off.
off.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
far off. Can I just say as well, I love that they show smoking in EastEnders still. And this is a really untrendy thing to say, but do you know what?
No,
People
I
smoke.
agree. I agree. Yeah, but Rob, it's only the baddies who smoke. Don't
Only
forget
bad
that.
people smoke,
Don't
yes.
forget.
If
So
she was going to be a slightly more likable person this time around, she'd be vaping like
it'd
Ravi,
be a
you know?
vape.
It'd be a
Yeah,
vape.
exactly. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and she's smoking in her cell as well. Pretty sure
Mhm.
that's not allowed
Was
either.
she
Who
a
cares?
smoker
It's Chrissy.
before? Is
I
this
was
something she's
wondering
picked up
this.
in
I don't remember
prison?
Chrissy ever
I
smoking,
don't. No, I don't. I don't
but I don't
remember her
care.
smoking.
But I don't care.
Well, that's what jail does to you, Rob.
20 years
Clearly.
inside, I'd become a
Hmm.
smoker. I smoke anyway sometimes, but I'd definitely be a smoker if I was in
Yeah.
prison,
Yeah.
100%. Right, so that's all to kick off next week. Looking forward to seeing what madness comes from that. We have a trailer that looked quite fun. Like it
Yes.
looks like
Yeah.
it's going to be fun. I am looking forward to it. It's only a short stint for Chrissy. I think it might only just be next week she's back for, but it's going to be a fun ride. A double Lauren Clee for the next two episodes, so that's
Oh.
fun. Yeah, so that'll be good.
Oh.
Um, Bring it on. Yeah, sounds very, very
This is what
exciting.
I'm wondering though, with her returning, is she going to get Sharon into trouble so Sharon stays in
I
jail for
think that
longer
might be
than
a
seven
plan.
days?
Something tells me that there's going to be some sort of plan that Chrissy wants to get out of prison,
Mm,
or if she can't do that, she's going to keep Sharon in for as long as she
yeah,
possibly can to get
and
her own
make
back.
Sharon's life hell. Yeah.
Because the last that we saw of Chrissy and Sharon was Sharon punching her, just as Chrissy was trying to run off with Jake, the new love
Yes,
of
at
her
the
life after
airport.
Den.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Chrissy's got some gears to grind with old Chazza. So it's going to be
Hmm.
fun. It's going to be a fun old week next week. I'm looking forward to it. So it's been a great week. Well, yeah, there's been a few little bits and pieces that we kind of pull out and think, well, that didn't really make sense. But do you know what? It was a ride and a half, wasn't it? And I have really, really enjoyed this week.
Hmm.
It was an absolute blast. Gold stars, if I need to ask.
Yeah, it's got to be Auntie Linda.
Yeah, I was debate. Well, see now, I was debating as both doing Linda this
Bernie.
week. Yeah,
I
I
would have
think I
been
will.
Bernie.
I think I will. Yeah, I'm going to give
Okay,
Linda.
because I feel like I've given it to Bernie a lot
All
recently,
right,
which is
so
why I
yeah,
didn't this week.
Linda and Bernie for
Yeah.
the gold stars this week because both absolutely knocked it out of the park with their performances this week. So well done for that. Right, final segment of the podcast as usual. Oh, and we also have a little bit of news to announce as well that was announced this week. Let's get on with that with your comments and a bit of news. So, a bit of news before we go with the comments. We've had another return announced. Yet another return is on the cards, and this time it's Ruby. Ruby
Ruby,
is on
Ruby,
her
Ruby,
way back.
Ruby.
Da, 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 da. Viewers last saw Ruby Allen when she left Walford in September 2021. Shortly, it's been 3 years since Ruby
It's
left.
been
Bloody
that
hell.
long. It does not
Surely,
feel like three.
Shortly after she claimed to be pregnant with Martin Fowler's child, but Martin refused to believe her, having discovered that Ruby had sprouted a series of lies which led to Stacey's false imprisonment. Yes.
Yes.
Whilst Martin has always been adamant Ruby was lying about her pregnancy, viewers learned that she was in fact telling the truth after Ruby's positive pregnancy test was revealed as she was driven away from Albert Square in a police car. With a potential child in tow, it's safe to say that Ruby's return will cause chaos for Martin and Stacey, who both thought they'd seen the back of her for good. Now, interesting.
Hmm.
You kind of felt that Ruby was gonna come back at some point, so this makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, my immediate thought on this is Ruby, she's apparently back for, and I quote, a prolonged stint. So that suggests a good 6 months,
Okay.
and in
Yeah.
6 months' time we have the anniversary, the
Yeah.
Ruby anniversary. I have a feeling. I'm just going to throw
Okay.
this out there now on camera as an official prediction. I think Ruby's going to die on the anniversary.
Ooh, how? Why?
I don't know.
Come on, Rob. You can't just say that and
Go
not
on,
give me a
write the
theory.
storyline. Write the storyline. I don't know.
Yeah, but interesting. Yeah,
No, I
possibly.
feel
Yeah, I
like
can
that's.
see
I feel
that.
like that has to be deliberate. Surely.
Yeah, and she'd be a big enough character that it'd have impact, but also that we wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily feel like we're losing a big character at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you think, I'm wondering, is she going to come back with Max? Just keep
Maybe.
waiting for Max to return.
Yeah. Maybe. But I wonder if like Ruby could make some enemies. We might end up with another Who Done It, and if it was a Who Killed Ruby for the Ruby anniversary, that might be
Mm.
a thing. Who
Priya's gonna
knows?
do it.
Oh God, I hope so. But then never gets caught. Let's hope so.
They could have some good beef.
There is one other thing. Somebody messaged me. I
Mm.
can't remember who, so I apologize because I have desperately been looking for your comment, but I can't find it. But someone messaged me and saying, "Ain't the cast a bit big at the minute? It's huge. It feels
Yeah,
really, really
it
big at the minute,
does.
and we've got a lot
Mm.
of returns still to come. Yes, they will be for short stints, but the cast does feel
Mm.
massive at the moment, doesn't it?
Mm.
Now I
But is
feel
it
like,
building up for the 40th? Is that what it's
yeah,
about?
I don't necessarily mind the cast being huge, but I feel like at the moment, most of the characters are sort of having their time in the spotlight. You
Yeah.
know, like I know the six storyline, yeah, completely took over at some points, yeah, and fine, you know, of course it did. It was a
Mm.
huge storyline, but I do sort of think, you know, you've got the likes of Felix, who we've said desperately needs a storyline because let's be honest, he's done not a lot since he arrived
No.
2 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, Martin, obviously, I would add to that list, but now Ruby's coming back, so that's going to be something for Martin to do. So
Yeah.
I feel like is the cast getting a little bit uncontrollable at the moment in terms of size? What do you think? I don't mind
I,
it, but I can see why
do you know
someone
what
might say that.
though? It is big, but I don't feel like it feels like there's too many because, like you say, a lot
No.
of them are having the spotlight because, not to mention another cert, but Coronation Street, they've
Mm,
had moments, particular, and even now
yeah.
they've got a big cast, and it does feel like
Mm,
they've lost, like they can't focus on anything. There's not enough
yeah.
focus on
Yeah.
each character per se, but it don't feel like it with EastEnders,
I don't know.
except for those weeks when you go, oh, we've not seen them for a while, and then they randomly appear. But
Yeah,
I don't feel like it's too bad.
one thing I would say about the show at the moment, and I have absolutely adored this era. I think it's been a really, really strong era,
Mm,
which I think we will look back on because I feel
mm.
like Clennis might leave after the
He
40th.
better not. He
I don't
better
think no,
not.
I'd like him not to, but I feel like that would be the time where you go, and that's the 40th done and dusted.
And I've peaked, and that's it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, off I go.
I hope not. I
Um,
really hope
and
not.
it's
But yeah,
about it'd be
possibly.
about 2.5 years that he's been in the role, and that's
Mm,
about the length of executive producer tenures. So I would not be surprised if we get
okay.
the announcement fairly soon, because Dominic Treadwell Collins left fairly soon after the 30th. He stayed to do Peggy's
Mm,
exit because she asked for it. Barbara Winter asked him to, but he would have been gone sooner otherwise. Um, and I have loved this era on the whole, but I feel like one thing that I have very much noticed is the block storytelling has been quite obvious. So, like, we haven't
that is
seen,
true.
you know, we'll have a bit of a time where a storyline has a focus and then it won't be mentioned for weeks. I think the Reese and Sonia
Hmm.
storyline really suffered with that at one point. You know, and the
Yeah.
Phil loneliness thing that's not been mentioned for weeks. So you kind of when you the show feels so busy at the moment. So I feel like the sacrifice of that is that you get moments like that where you kind of think, I can't remember what that storyline was about, or it's been so long since that's been mentioned.
That's
So,
true.
you know, you kind of take the rough with the smooth, I think. We have got a lot of smooth on the show at the moment, with a little
Yeah.
bit of rough here and there. So I'll take
Yeah.
that over what we've had for the preceding 5 years before this storyline, before this
Hmm.
era started, you know? So I
Yeah.
get it. The cast does feel huge, but I think they are just about keeping it under control, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
any comments this week, Ray?
Yes, we've got one from Sarah Foster on Instagram who says, what a week. I cannot keep up with the twists and turns and I love it. Love the Krista reveal, although like with the Cinder return, it would have been better if it hadn't been leaked. I still remember shouting at the screen during the 30th when Kathy came back. Keep it up, EastEnders. You are unmissable at the moment. Can't wait for the podcast this week.
Do you know what? Yes, and here I come straight out of announcing another return. Yeah. Do you know what though? I feel like the show kind of tried so hard to keep the Cinder return a secret, and
Yes.
it just got leaked. And they're sort of like, do you know what? Maybe we just,
Mm,
I don't know. It was. I feel like that was
no,
such a shame.
I agree though. I feel like they're announcing the returns
Mm.
so much, and it does take away from the surprise element because there were no surprise that it was Chrissy at the end of
That
Thursday's
would have been a
episode,
massive moment if Chrissy had
wouldn't
not
it?
been.
That would have
Yeah,
been
and
huge.
it feels like, you know, Chrissy is that all of Chrissy's scenes are going to be very much on that prison set, I feel like.
Hmm.
So it's not like she would have been, you know, out and
Well,
about
this
on
is what I was
location or anything.
thinking. Is it that now they're on this mindset with what happened with Cindy of let's just announce everything first then so there's no danger or anything
Yeah,
being leaked?
maybe.
Is that the thinking behind it? Even still though, like you're saying, if she's not necessarily on the set, could they have
Mm.
not asked her to come in a I don't know, in a hood and face mask
Yeah.
or something.
I mean, you mentioning the cafe moment though, that I remember that moment so well. Like the world exploded when Kathy set foot out of that taxi. It was brilliant. I
Yeah.
remember the digital spy forums that on that episode. It was literally 3 pages of people going Kathy, and like literally 3 pages of just
Yeah.
Kathy written in capital letters. It was a brilliant moment, and they had gone way and above trying to keep that a secret. Remember Emma Summerhays, the police officer that Max was having a thing with, who got
Yes.
hit by
Yeah. Yeah.
Roxy's car. Even during rehearsals, there's video footage of her pretending to be Kathy and like playing that role in that scene, like just so that
Ah.
nothing
Yeah.
could leak. It was so well done. So yeah, the Kathy reveal. I think that that's what they were going for with the Cindy moment, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
unfortunately, they met the Sun ruined it. So basically, it's all the Sun's fault. That's what
Stop
my
saying the name. Stop giving them
no,
publicity.
it's the scum's fault. So there we go.
Yes.
That's
There we
that.
go.
Next comment.
Got a comment from Rachel Alice June saying, where to begin? I'm mostly confused as to where this goes now. I mean, Bernie isn't going to let this go. Bernie strangling Linda was a nice touch because you don't know how you're going to react until you push too far. These ladies did a phenomenal job this week, but my gold star goes to Stacey.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like the strangling Lyndon thing was very much deliberate to sort of power, like we say,
Yeah,
the
the
throttling, the
parallels.
throttling tailors. That's very much a
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that, like we said, there are a couple of loose ends that may or may not get acknowledged again. I don't know. Maybe they will. I feel like the main point there is I struggle to believe that Bernie would stay completely quiet. I feel like there needs to be some scenes with Bernie being ultimately
mm.
persuaded, like enough now. All right,
Is
we're
she just
sorry.
gonna flip and just blackmail them all instead or
Maybe.
something? Because
Bernie's
that'd make it
Bernie's
more
villain era.
realistic to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bernie's villain era is very much upon us, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how
Yeah.
that plays out. Neon Commando says it was so tense and so camp at the same time. My favorite kind of EastEnders episode, and then all the hearts in the colors of the six. The week's gone down pretty well, I think. It was a mammoth week. It was a huge week. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, camp, ridiculous, funny, gripping,
See,
intense.
that's a good way of looking at Monday's episode, isn't it? When you see it as the campness that it was, because it
Yeah,
was. It was
it was.
like you say, you can't take it too
No,
seriously
don't
because it wasn't
overthink it.
trying to be too
No,
serious.
this let's be honest, the six storyline has never proclaimed itself to be like this
No.
really gritty, down to earth, sort of
Yeah.
like honest, like this is life issues we're talking about here. No, it's just a
Yeah,
fun,
true.
soapy storyline which has completely and
Yeah.
utterly
And
taken
in a
everyone's
way,
imagination.
it's nice to not have a like
Yeah,
issue-based
yeah.
storyline, isn't it? And
Yeah,
just take it as
there's been
even though there
issues.
are issues in
Yeah,
it,
there's
yeah, like
issues within
Linda's
it.
drinking,
Yeah,
but
Denise's mental breakdown, all that
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah,
There's been moments where they've been able to
yeah,
sort of say, this is an opportunity for us to sort of address this, which is
yeah,
nice. But it's just been a storyline of such scope that they can have those sort of pit stops of realism and then go back on
yeah,
the road of fun that the
yeah.
storyline's been. I think it's been an absolute success. I really, really do. So there we are. That's it for another week. Next week, we've got Chrissy. And God knows where it's going to go from here. It feels like September is very much here. We are in
Mm.
motorway mode now until Christmas, and God knows what that's going to be about. I just love that I don't really have much of a prediction where anything's going to go. The show feels
No,
like it could do anything right now. I can bring
same.
it on.
Ironic, really, when you compare it to last year, where we knew exactly what was
Oh,
kind of
yes.
going to happen.
Yeah, completely
Yeah,
the opposite this way.
yeah.
No idea what's happening for Christmas this year. So there we are. So if you would like to get in touch with us or ask us any questions or anything of that nature, you can do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on X and Instagram at E20 After
Stop
Dark.
it.
If you watch it on YouTube, don't forget to
Twitter.
like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and all your favourite podcast sites. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark. I'm just laughing at your face. You get so annoyed by it, don't you?
You're right,
It
Jim.
is X now, Rob. It is
No,
X.
no one calls it X.
You're
No
stuck
one
in your
calls it
ways.
X.
You're stuck
I
in your
am.
ways.
Yeah, I remember. Bring back MySpace, I say. Right,
Hear
ladies and
ya.
gents, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. We shall be back same time next week. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye. See you later.
Bye. Bye.